You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge here on WTRV, the calm before the storm.
What is that?
Hey, to all you smooth talkers and brisk walkers.
May our shining light guide you through the storm this evening. I don't know.
This?
So we're sponsored by NPR today.
Pretty much any smooth
They're
jazz
not that
from the
sexy on
1990s.
NPR.
Oh no, this is
This is like late
AD
90s,
NPR.
late 90s midnight smooth jazz.
I call it
radio
AD NPR, which is after dark NPR.
Okay.
Which is the news, but just
usually just reruns.
it's more flavor, less news.
Yeah.
Update: we do not have a radio station. I think you need to have some standards for that. So,
Yeah, exactly.
that point aside, anyways, joining me in studio, I've got Neal on my left, kind of across from me to set the stage a little
This
bit.
is Triviality, by the way.
It is. I think.
Oh, yes.
Last I checked. Matt chiming in over from LA. How's it going, Matt?
Oh, if this is your first episode, I apologize. This is not what the show is, just to let you know. It's not what we do.
Usually it's more sexy.
We're only half as sexy today. That's true.
Well, now that we're all here and introduced, Neal, why don't you introduce us to our two excellent guests?
Of course. Well, our first guest is going to be playing with Matt today. He's coming to us from Joplin, Missouri. He's a Savage Superstar on Patreon, which we appreciate. And behind him are some of the coolest looking axes, not made of metal, but straight guitar. And that
They're
is
not
Paul
made
Dwyer.
of metal, but they do make metal.
Oh,
They
thank
do
you.
make metal.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Paul. Yeah, thank you for being with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I make wood furniture for a living. Live in Joplin, Missouri.
It's a
That's about
dream.
it. I mean, I do play guitar. Not great, but
Well, loud,
last
right?
year,
Not
Oh,
great,
me
but
too.
loud.
yes, loud, less metal, more punk.
Nice.
Yeah, you got the huge amp like Marty McFly, and as long as you can play one chord
Oh,
and
yeah.
bust that thing open, that's all that matters.
Totally.
Thank you for joining us, Paul. And now to introduce our host, he is a Rules Guy Impersonator on Patreon, for which we appreciate. He's coming to us from Detroit, Michigan, and is the returning Bone Doctor, as we affectionately called him. And he is not a Bond villain, but one of our favorite guests that we've had on. His name is Chase Ansok. Thank you for joining us today, Chase. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. What has been new in your world?
Well, since we last talked, I got out of New York City and headed back to Detroit, where my wife and I are hanging out. We got back into our curling club and had a great season there. So it's just been nice to be back in the Midwest. Everything moves a little slower. Everyone's a little more friendly. It's a great place to be.
Now you specialize in shoulder bones. So how would you rate
Yep.
the Detroitian shoulders? Out of 10?
They've been good. They're a little thicker than the New York shoulders, but
It's closer to
But it's-
Chicago, right?
yeah,
Broader
we're only about
shoulders.
Is that where they get the name Red
Exactly.
Wings? Because they're like wings?
Yeah.
The human wings?
Yeah, but the Red Wings have not been flying very high recently. It's been sad times for Detroit sports.
Yes.
Good.
Matt, you're not a fan of Detroit sports?
No, everyone knows that Detroit, well,
You know,
blows. Yeah.
except for the Pistons, who Matt loves. Let's move on.
Yes, we'll move on and make sure that everyone knows that Matt also loves the Detroit Tigers. Well, both of you are here today, and we appreciate you spending some time with us. It seems that Ken is going to be sitting out today. Is that right, Ken?
Yeah, I'm just going to take a nap in the studio.
All right. He'll be taking a nap and will not be chiming in at any point. If he does, everyone gets $1. Jeff,
From me?
Yeah, from you.
Oh.
Jeff, we're going to be partnering today?
Yeah, I think so, Neal.
Okay, and Matt, looks like you're going to be partnering with Paul. Paul, you said that you had a trivia team name that you liked playing with. Maybe you can combine that with Matt to form a new name?
All right, I usually play as Bartleby from the Melville book, Bartleby the Scrivener.
And I occasionally play a barista at work. So I think Bartleby the barista. Is that what we agreed with?
That's right.
That sounds good.
Bartleby the Barista, also coming to you as a children's book this summer. Jeff, what do you think for team name?
Neil, tell me what you think about this, but I'm feeling a little Call Me Moby.
I like it.
All right. Nothing left to do. Let's toss it to the rules guy.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
He sounded like Ahab.
Like, how does Ahab sound?
He sounds like a mix, I think, between
like that whale.
Yeah, like Shaw from Jaws, and like a little bit of like an old angry,
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah,
I can't picture that, Neil. What does that sound like?
That scurvin fish in the waters, and he loves the podcast.
Whales are mammals. Let's toss it to Chase.
All right. Maybe next time we can do a rules guy sea shanty.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, guys. So if you're ready, let's do question 1 of round 1. The category is countries where things aren't always peachy. South Ossetia and Abkhazia are partially recognized states that have long been embroiled and in conflicts over their sovereignty. While the Russian military occupies and controls these areas, the United Nations still recognize these territories as part of what country?
Jeff, I don't have any reasoning on this one, and this is more your expertise, so let's go with your gut.
Okay, we will lock it in.
All right, Paul. Geography not a strong suit. Do you have any idea on this one?
I'm fairly certain it's Georgia.
Oh, that is wonderful because I had nothing there and Georgia's not on my mind. So we're gonna lock in with Georgia.
I just missed Chase's clue because I got my peaches down in Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like that's where I come in handy with trivia, because I'm sure Jeff came at it from a straight geography standpoint. So your answer is?
Yeah, I knew it was in the region with Armenia and Azerbaijan, but I was pretty sure it was Georgia.
And you guys are both correct. The answer is Georgia.
Which
Ken.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Ken chiming in there that most of the categories will have little hints, not all of them, but they may help you get to where we need to go.
Jeff's really thinking about it. I'm like, peaches.
What I was going to say is a lot of Americans got really freaked out when there was that news article in like 2012 saying that Russia invaded Georgia.
Yep.
Whoops. Wrong button. It's this one. There we go. Take 2.
I kind of like that other one, though.
Let's hear it. Hold on.
Kind of like... Ooh. Was that a dog bark on the soundboard or in real life?
That's in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
great timing. Yeah.
All right. Let's get on to question 2.
When did
That's
Neil
all
do
staying in the
dog barking?
All right, guys. Round 1, question 2. Space age technology, Stone Age writing. What is the name of the villainous, multidimensional alien race in the TV series Sliders? Their name is nearly identical to the term for the first early modern humans to inhabit Northern Europe.
Paul, if you don't mind, we can lock in. I'm a big Sliders guy.
Oh, good.
Me too. I once ate 28 in a sitting. I was so close to that crave case satisfaction and glory, but
I used
fell
to
short.
have a mantra before I was 30, which was, never have White Castle after 2 a.m. because it'll be a bad time. Now,
or before 2 a.m.
Well, now I was going to say now post 30, never have White Castle before 2 a.m. because it'll also be a bad time. So aging. So Jeff, I don't know much about Sliders. I know Jerry O'Connell was in Sliders. That's about it.
When people refer to someone as, like Cro-Magnon, or what are the other ones I'm thinking
Cro-Magnon sounds like it would be a good TV villain if we just changed the word a little bit. I don't know. Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, it's got to be something like that, but altered a little bit.
We're currently on Homo sapien. Before this was Homo habilis, but I don't know how that doesn't sound like an alien.
I think I still got some habilis in me.
Maybe go with one of those, and just if you can just alter it slightly. I mean, like
do you want to go Cro-Magnon?
Cro-Magnon.
I don't know if
How about what if we did Cro-Magnon?
Are we gonna go with Cro-Magnon?
There's Neil shooting himself in the foot. I'm guessing.
You're the official
we'll
answer.
Go with Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon. Okay.
All right. Yeah, Matt and Paul, what do you guys got?
Well, I think there's a sliders dimension where everything's the same, except they didn't change the word and got it right because you guys are really close. They're called the Cro-Mags, and I don't know if you want to give them points for it, but it's pretty close.
No, yeah, in the clue, I did say it was nearly identical, so you got to have that little twist there. But so you guys weren't as clever as the great writers of sliders. They're Cro-Mags.
Actually, the fact that we got close, I'm just satisfied with that.
Paul, you said you were a punk enthusiast, also a hardcore punk band from the 80s, I guess?
The Cro-Mags. Yeah. That would have been my guess, but I haven't seen Sliders in probably 20 years. I don't remember that.
Does not hold up.
Let's go on to question 3. And the category is architecture not built by aliens. In what 3-time Olympic hosting city would you find the Shard, which holds the title as the largest pyramid in the world?
We're locked in.
That was quick. Paul, any ideas here?
I'm pretty sure that London is the city that's hosted 3 times, and the Shard is that really big kind of seashell-looking building. It's in the middle of the city.
It sounds good to me, so we're going to lock in with London.
But yeah, there's a Patreon level. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's $1 million a month, and it's Jeff Lives in the Shard. So just saying, if you guys want to help towards that cause, really appreciate it. But yeah, we went London.
All right. Well, yeah. Although no one's given you the $1 million to make that dream a reality, you're at least correct today. It is London where you can find the Shard. So.
See, a lot of people go in the Shard for a view of London, but they don't get to see the Shard, which is why you should go to the walkie-talkie building, which is free and not under a paywall, and then you can see all of London, including the Shard.
I'd be lucky to just live in a yard.
That's true.
To be honest.
Jeff can build you a doghouse or something you can live in. Like Snoopy, just sleep on top
live
in the
in
day.
Jeff's yard.
Yeah.
I'll take you over to...
But we'll name the doghouse the Shard. Or the Shart.
Jeff comes out after breakfast. He just sees you scratching yourself across the lawn on your butt.
Ken, no! No!
I made this really nice sign that said the shed, and then Ken bastardized it.
Great. So guys, we're going to go into question 4. So we were just 1,000 feet up at the Shard, and now we're going way down in an underwater town. Appropriately named for a god, what zone refers to the deepest regions of the ocean, typically at a depth of over 20,000 feet? I'll accept the name of either the god or the name of the region.
All right. Yeah, let's go with your first answer, I guess, and see what happens.
Lock it in.
All right. So they're locked in. Paul, what do you know about very deep ocean places?
Well, I know Challenger Deep is the deepest section, but that doesn't have a god?
Yeah. And I was thinking like abyssal zone, but I don't know of a god named Abyss.
I think I'd rather go with Poseidon. I think there's more of a tendency for it to be Greek. But
okay. Well, we are going to go with Poseidon then.
We also think it's Greek, but we think this is kind of a greedy god. He's got a town as well. We guessed Hades.
All right. Yeah. So Neal and Jeff were on the right track from the Tony Award-winning musical Hadestown. So we are way down in Hadestown. So Hades or Hadel is the answer there.
Now that you say the clue, I get the clue. I didn't even think about that when you read it, so that makes sense.
I was with Matt on the abyssal zone there. I thought that was it.
Yeah.
Moving on to question 5. The category is Bette Midler's greatest hit. Known as the High Priestess of Soul and not the Queen of Soul, whose 1965 album and 1992 autobiography are both titled I Put a Spell on You?
We can lock in over here.
Probably the person that's saying I put a spell on you, right? Would that make sense?
Yeah, or well, the woman who sang it. There was Screaming Jay Hawkins originally sang the song, but Nina Simone had a big cover of it. And I think she's known as the High Priestess of Soul.
Well, those are two things that would definitely make me want to lock in with that answer. So we are going to lock in with Nina Simone. Simone? There you
go. Paul's flavor text was what I was going to say, so I will not repeat it, but we also locked in with Nina Simone.
And you guys are both correct. Like just about everybody can name one soul artist when they say Aretha Franklin, but so she's the Queen of Soul, and the High Priestess of Soul was Nina Simone. So good job, both teams.
And her cousin, her Italian cousin Nina Simone is the high priestess of rowing the gondola.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's a nice.
That's what I was thinking of. You're right.
Yeah, Matt is a big gondola fan, so it was just that deep in his brain there. After 5 questions, it looks like we're all tied up at 40.
There we go. All right. Moving on to question 6. The category is sportsy horsies. Regret in 1915, Genuine Risk in 1980, and Winning Colors in 1988 are all Kentucky Derby winning horses that share what unique distinction?
We are locked in over here, guys.
Okay, you guys are locked in. Yeah, we're pretty sure that these are much like Bryce Harper. They are fillies. So we said fillies.
We had a different thought. We thought that possibly it was something a little bit cooler, I suppose, but we thought maybe they're all in the same lineage. So direct lineage, fathers, sons, whatever you want it to be.
That would be pretty cool, but I don't know if that's ever happened, but Matt is 100% correct. These are the only female horses or fillies to ever win the Kentucky Derby. All right, going on to question 7. The category is politicians who have been punched in the face by a neighbor. What was Senator Rand Paul's medical profession before withdrawing from the American board and instead becoming self-certified by a board of his own creation, the National Board? He later withdrew from that as well.
Jeff and I wrote down a bunch of different specialties, and even though we don't know it, we have one that we think could be the right answer. So we're going to lock in.
I don't even know where to start here. So you're saying dentist, maybe?
That's what jumped into my mind, but what are some other specialties?
Well, and he said something about punching someone in the face.
Well, he was punched in the face by a neighbor of his.
Well, then you probably need a good dentist. I don't know. I'd have no idea. We can lock in with dentist because I don't know if we're gonna get anything else.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. That sounds good.
As I said, we weren't too sure on this one, but we know that he has a tendency to put his foot in his mouth, and people who know a lot about feet are podiatrists. So that's what we locked in with.
All right. So Rand Paul did go to medical school, and he became an ophthalmologist. He was an eye doctor. He did not practice for very long, though, before getting into politics, and all of his career was kind of marred by this whole saga that I detailed for you guys.
Have you ever gotten punched in the face by a neighbor, Chase?
I have not, and I think it's just because I'm a nicer person than Rand Paul, but I can't be 100% sure of that.
I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah, you should put that on your business card for your practice.
Nicer than Rand Paul. Low standards.
We're going to bring our standards up with question 8. The category is space is not very drafty. When Pluto was downgraded from its status as a planet, it was reclassified as a dwarf planet and grouped with other KBOs, such as Haumea and Charon. What is a KBO? The term is named for a Dutch astronomer, not a hacky ESPN analyst.
Yep, we're locked in.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure I know it. That's out in the Kuiper Belt. So KBO would be a Kuiper Belt object.
No, Mel Kiper's not hacky. That's rude. He just has a hacky haircut.
Oh, Mel Kiper, yeah.
Well, we're going to go with the Kuiper Belt then, I guess.
Yeah, we too went with a Kuiper Belt object.
Both teams are correct here. A KBO is a Kuiper Belt object, but Matt is wrong. Mel Kiper is very hacky and says the exact same things about every draft prospect for the last 20 years.
That's okay. I think you have good upside as a host, so I'll let that go.
Great hands, great separation.
It's just a lot of hustle, hard worker in the locker room. All right. Going on to question 9 here. The category is Parting New York and Long Island. Robert Caro won the 1974 Pulitzer Prize for his biography, The Power Broker, which details the life of what New York Parks Commissioner who was responsible for many of the major expressways and bridges now found in New York City.
We can lock in over here with a wrong answer.
Ooh, locking in with the wrong answer. That is a gutsy move, Neal.
Let's see
Paul,
if it pays off.
You had some ideas on this one.
I'm pretty sure his name is Robert Moses.
Yes, Moses, Parting New York, or whatever the clue was in the title there. So we're gonna lock in with Moses.
Another great clue that we didn't catch on to. We just knew that one of the airports is LaGuardia, and we thought maybe the mayoral influence transferred over to expressways, so we said LaGuardia.
Yeah, so LaGuardia and this guy actually fought pretty much constantly during his mayoral time, but this is the Parks Commissioner Robert Moses. So good job to Matt and Paul. I was trying to shoehorn in the indie DJ Bob Moses into this, but he only had one good song, so I couldn't find a way to shoehorn it in there. All right. Speaking of Moses, category number 10, the cat is Oy vey. Connect the following 4 Jewish holidays with the oversimplification of what is being celebrated. So I need you guys to kind of write down these 4 things, the 4 holidays, and then the 4 things that they might be categorized with. So the 4 holidays are Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Passover, and Hanukkah. The 4 oversimplifications are A, the Exodus of the Israelites, B, the New Year, C, the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, and D, the Day of Atonement.
All right, gentlemen, Jeff and I are both locked in.
All right, Paul, so let's go through these. Passover, we're pretty sure is Exodus, right?
Yeah.
Yom Kippur, we're saying New Year.
Yep.
Rosh Hashanah, Day of Atonement, right?
Yep.
That leaves Hanukkah with what? Which one?
The rededication of the Second Temple. Is that
okay, that sounds good, and that's what we're locking in with.
All right, Jeff and Neal, what did you guys have?
All right, so pretty sure that we agree that Passover is related to the Exodus of the Israelites. I'm fairly certain Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. So we said Hanukkah is New Year and Rosh Hashanah is the second dedication of the temple.
Oof. All right. So no points on this one for you guys. So I'll go through them from top to bottom. Rosh Hashanah is the New Year, which was just recently celebrated. Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. Passover is the Exodus of the Israelites, which I think most of us learned from the Rugrats.
That is correct.
And Hanukkah is it's the rededication of the Second Temple. And the miracle associated with it is the single bit of oil lasting for 8 days. So this question is dedicated to all of my Jewish friends from medical school that are embarrassed that I still know nothing about Judaism, despite spending many years hanging out with all of them.
After the first round, it looks like Team Call Me Moby has 50 points going into the swing round, and Bartleby, the barista, has 70 points. Before we throw it to Chase to hear what his swing round theme is, just wanted to direct everyone over to Patreon. If you'd like to join Chase and Paul in supporting the show and helping us continue to grow, you can get tons of extra audio content there, over 35 hours worth. You just have to go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast. And there also are some other perks that listeners can get, right, Jeff?
There are.
And thank you, Jeff. Yes, there are many perks. You can get stickers, posters, boxes. But as I said, most of all, the extra audio content. And today we are joined by 2 Patreon supporters, and we very much appreciate that. And if you'd like to join them, just go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast.
All right. So for our midpoint round, just like I did the last time that I hosted, I have a round of before and afters for you. In this case, the theme is going to be actors on location. So for all of these, obviously, it's going to start with an actor's name, and then it's going to finish with a location that the last syllable matches with the first. So as my example, it was great seeing an actor who first gained fame in the 1980s on Moonlighting, but is now much better known as an action star in the 1990s on my trip to the crossroads of the world. So in this case, the crossroads of the world is Istanbul. The actor is Bruce Willis. So your answer for this question would be Bruce Willis Istanbul. All right. So starting with question 1 in our midpoint round. Number 1, this actor didn't think it was funny when I shouted, "This isn't Nam, this is bowling," at him while visiting the site of the 1975 boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Question 2, maybe this star of The Handmaid's Tale was doing some scene work when I ran into her at St. Basil's Cathedral. Question 3, it was a striking occurrence to run into the Universal Soldier himself in what is arguably the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world. Question 4. I wasn't far from the shallows when I ran into this actor on the beaches of this Western Australian city, where I later caught the derby between West Coast and Fremantle. Question 5. It was a surprise to see this WandaVision actor in the French Riviera, having a vacation that was delightful and pleasurable and enjoyable. Well, you get it. Question 6. This Suicide Squatter actor and I did not have to walk on water to visit the metropolis formerly known as Edo. Question 7. The only woman of color to ever win a Best Actress Academy Award had plenty of reason to celebrate with me at the world's largest annual Lenten festival. Question 8. Her narration of the American planet Earth was downright Shakespearean, so it was fitting to find her in this Italian city where 2 of Billy Shake's most famous plays are set. Question 9. I saw him walking around in a tuxedo after 6 o'clock because he obviously isn't a farmer like many of the folks who live in this capital city of Manitoba.
I got this one, Neal.
And question 10. Ivan Drago and I had a real mean time checking out the shepherd clock outside the Royal Observatory.
All right, these guys will think about their answers, and we'll be right back.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
All right, all the answers are now locked in. Let's go to Chase to hear them one more time, and we will give our answers.
All right. So, again, our midpoint round is a before and after with actors on location. Question 1 was, this actor didn't think it was funny when I shouted, "This isn't Nam, this is bowling," at him while visiting the site of the 1975 boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier.
Yep, we think this one is John Good Manila.
Yep, we also have John Good Manila.
Yeah, I heard you guys. It was pretty painful hearing you go, well, it's got to be Jeff Bridges for a good long while. And then to Neal and Jeff, I think you guys are talking about the fight at Madison Square Garden. That was in 1971, and that was the fight of the century. But the rematch was in 1975 in Manila. So points to both teams. All right, question 2. Maybe the star of The Handmaid's Tale was doing some scene work when I ran into her at St. Basil's Cathedral.
We went with Elizabeth Moscow.
We also went with Elizabeth Moscow.
Yep, you guys got it. It is Elizabeth Moscow. I originally had the red square in there, and that was way too obvious. So, but there you go. That's where St. Basil's Cathedral is. All right, question 3. It was a striking occurrence to run into the Universal Soldier himself in what is arguably the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world.
Yep. Star, of course, of our Bloodsport series, Jean-Claude Van Damascus.
Ooh, we had Jean-Claude Van Amsterdam.
Yeah, so
I totally glossed over that.
Yeah, so both cities work with the before and after, but the only one that has been inhabited for that long is Damascus. So Jean-Claude Van Damascus is your answer. All right, question 4. I wasn't far from the shallows when I ran into this actor on the beaches of this Western Australian city, where I later caught the derby between West Coast and Fremantle.
Hey, let me get a look at you.
Tell me something, Neal.
We went with Bradley Cooperth.
Yes, and I will not regale you with impressions, but we also said Bradley Cooperth.
Yep, that is Rocket Raccoon, everybody's favorite, and a great that great impression there of him. It's Bradley Cooperth. All right, number 5. It was a surprise to see this WandaVision actor in the French Riviera having a vacation that was delightful and pleasurable and enjoyable, and well, you get it.
We believe this is Paul Bettany.
And I made another error here. Paul Bettany. I don't think Nimes is something.
I think it is a city, but it is not in the French Riviera, and it certainly doesn't fit all my little synonyms there. So it is Paul Bettany. All right, number 6. This Suicide Squad actor and I didn't have to walk on water to visit the metropolis formerly known as Edo.
We went with Jared Leto.
Yes, Jared Leto.
Yep, you both got it. Our favorite 30-Second to Mars singer and not the best Joker, Jared Leto. All right, number 7. The only woman of color to ever win a Best Actress Academy Award had plenty of reason to celebrate with me at the world's largest Lenten festival, as in a festival where they celebrate Lent.
Yeah, one such festival that Neal and I hadn't thought about for quite a while was Carnival. So until we got there, it took us a while to figure out that was probably Halle Berry Rio de Janeiro. Halle Berry Rio de Janeiro. There we go. I screwed it up. Halle Berry Rio de Janeiro.
We also have Halle Berry Rio de Janeiro.
And yes, both teams are correct. And full disclosure, it took both teams a long time to get there, but good job, guys. All right.
Rio's a pretty small, unknown city, so it's hard to get there.
Right.
Yeah, Fromers hasn't gotten there yet.
All right, question 8. Her narration of the American planet Earth was downright Shakespearean, so it was fitting to find her in this Italian city where 2 of Billy Shake's most famous plays are set.
2 of his most famous plays, and also the site from which 2 gentlemen come from. We said Sigourney Weaver Verona.
Also going with Sigourney Weaver Verona.
And yep, both teams got it there. Not a lot of trouble on that one, but all right. And there is some dispute there that there is a third play set there, but the only ones that spend the entire time in Verona are 2 Gentlemen of Verona and Romeo and Juliet. So, question 9. I saw him walking around in a tuxedo after 6 o'clock because he obviously isn't a farmer like many of the folks who live in this capital city of Manitoba.
We said Alec Bald Winnipeg.
We also had Alec Bald Winnipeg.
Yep. Points. All right. Number 10, last question. Ivan Drago and I had a real mean time checking out the Shepherd clock outside the Royal Observatory.
We went with Dolph Lundgren.
One of my favorite actors, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, you guys got that one as well. Probably the biggest stretch in terms of pronunciation, but yeah, you guys nailed it. So if I did it right, it looks like Call Me Moby had a perfect score, 10 for 10, and Bartleby the Barista had 8 of 10. So 40 points for them and the full 50 for Call Me Moby.
Wow.
That is correct, Chase. That would bring our scores to 100 for Call Me Moby, to 110 for Bartleby.
Going on to round 2. Category number 1 is in measured politics. Other than the United States, name one of the 2 countries in the world that still uses the imperial measuring system. One is an Asian nation currently embroiled in an internal conflict, and the other is a Southwest African nation currently led by famous footballer George Weah, whose son Tim plays for the U.S. men's national team. 5 bonus points for both.
Okay, Neal, I think I have both of them.
Fantastic.
I mean, countries with internal struggle in Asia right now, like Yemen.
Okay.
Yemen, there's a lot of
strife in Yemen.
Yeah. I mean, Liberia would make a lot of sense in Africa. Is that in the Southwest? A little.
Oh, my actual geography is not what I know. It's things. I mean, and soccer players.
What was the name of the soccer player?
George Weah.
Yeah, let's go with Liberia.
Okay.
Since his name is George.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of
do you guys have a guess for the Asian country?
We'll go with Yemen.
All right. So you guys are locked in. Neal and Jeff, what do you guys got?
All right. So one has ties to the United States. That one I was pretty sure of in West Africa was Liberia. And the other one I was pretty certain of, but when he said it was kind of embroiled in a struggle, the one that I'm thinking of is currently in an ongoing civil war. That would be Myanmar.
All right. So you guys had Myanmar and Liberia, and then Paul and Matt You guys locked in with Liberia and Yemen. So our answers are Myanmar and Liberia. So 10 points for Bartleby the Barista and 15 for Call Me Moby.
Ooh.
And then I originally had Civil War in the question stem. Not quite sure if that's the best term for it, but a good reason for everybody to keep up with your news and what's going on in other parts of the world, just to get a better understanding of what else is happening. For something more lighthearted, question number 2 is in hard-hitting fast food. On the list of companies with the most franchises in the world, you have to scroll down to number 18 to find the first company not based in the United States. Name the company, which was founded in 1964 by a retired athlete.
I think I know this one.
Okay, so we're looking for a fast food chain that is not from the United States or not based in the United States.
Yep.
And was started by an athlete in 1964.
Because all the other ones I'm going to, your Popeyes, KFC, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Long John Silver's, Starbucks. Wait, Tim Horton.
Oh, was he an athlete?
Yeah, he was a Canadian hockey player.
See, that's knowledge I didn't have. I think that's good. We should go Tim Hortons, eh?
Yeah, let's go with old Timmy Hortons.
All right, you guys are locked in. Matt and Paul, what did you guys have?
That was so painful. You were so close to guessing the wrong answer. Yes, whereas I work for American coffee conglomerate, I was pretty sure this was the Canadian coffee conglomerate, Tim Hortons.
Yeah, if Tim Duncan founded a franchise, maybe it'd be more popular. But nope, this was Tim Hortons. Is the most Canadian franchise, but number 18 in the world after all the U.S. ones. So points for both teams.
Yeah, I actually went to a Tim Hortons in the United States not that long ago.
Oh yeah, they're all over the Midwest.
Yeah, I was to say they're really starting to expand, especially out in like Michigan and stuff.
All right, question 3, a little bit of a science question for everybody. The category is dorky biology. It doesn't take a quantum leap to guess the name of this large bone that provides structure to the genitalia of a male whale. What is it?
I mean, if you think there's a quantum leap tie-in, I'm not getting it.
Well, I know that the lead actor of Quantum Leap was not that, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it, though. It might not.
What'd you write?
I just feel like that doesn't really fit in with the clue.
Just wrote penis bone. No, what did you write?
Penile bone.
You put the old penile bone.
Okay. Paul, I think, had the answer here, so we're going to lock in.
All right, Jeff. So Quantum Leap is the clue. You wrote penile bone, which is a valiant effort.
Well, it's what we're talking about.
We're talking about the penile bone.
I'm assuming something adjacent.
Right. Now, Quantum Leap, the lead actor is Scott Bakula. He portrays the character Sam Beckett.
Bacula sounds like it could be a bone.
Right. The bacula right above the sacula.
Right.
And so what I was saying here is that you have the perineum, which is the human...
Do I have to bleep that?
I don't know. I don't know if the word is bleepable or if it needs to be bleeped.
I'm bleeping it twice.
Whatever you're doing, you are tainting our record as podcasters.
Ooh, that's not bleeped.
So the human area that we just discussed is the perineum. So we were saying maybe if it's not the bacula, because that's the actor, maybe it's the baculum. So that's our answer. That's what we're locking in with.
Yeah, I think Paul was on a better Tracula. What were you thinking, Paul?
Oh, Scott Bakula is the star of Quantum Leap, and Bakula sounds like scapula, so just Bakula sounds like a good answer.
So we just said Bakula.
Yeah, Neal and Jeff took it one step stupider to get the right answer.
Oh my!
It is a baculum.
Oh my god! I can't believe it.
And I did check just to make sure that I shouldn't give credit, but the plural of baculum is actually baculums. So.
Oh, so it is baculum?
Right. It is baculum.
Oh,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh my god! I put that we didn't get points for that because I was sure we were wrong.
That's why I'm feeling a little bit of warmth in my perineum.
That's a reverse Cro-Mag from earlier.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some when you play the game of stupid dice.
All right, we're on to question 4. The category is cliffs as white as snow. In the English Premier League, there are 2 teams that use an archaic name for the island of Great Britain, which is derived from the White Cliffs of Dover. The teams are West Bromwich Blank and Brighton and Hove blank. Fill in the blank.
We are locked in over here.
I went through the football angle, and Paul, kind of, you knew the old name for England, right? What did you think it was?
Well, Albion is what they used to call it.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that is correct. So we said Albion.
Albion, I think, is also the name of the land. Is that in Fable? But we didn't know. We thought, what's something that's white like snow? And we said alabaster.
No, so yeah, you guys got it from the sporting angle. It is in fact Albion, but the same idea. Alabaster is not terribly far off, right? So anything with derived from white is going to be alb, like albino. So Albion. There we go. All right. Well, that puts Bartleby the barista back in the lead as we head into question 5. The category is a landmass that extends into the sea. What NBC superhero series, named for its protagonist's signature garment, was canceled after one poorly received season and did not, in fact, make it to 6 seasons and a movie?
6 seasons in a movie?
Yeah.
We can both lock in.
Yeah.
I was speaking for Jeff.
I wish. Why am I?
You don't know this one?
I think that's a Community reference, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it the Cape or something?
Oh, okay.
Which would explain the body of water extending into the ocean or whatever.
Yeah, there was a TV show that failed called The Cape.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Abed is obsessed with the Cape. He runs up to Jeff with a cape on his back, and then Cape whips his tray off of his table, sending his lunch careening into the floor. So, yeah, so we're going to go with the Cape.
We are also going to go with the Cape.
You guys are both correct. Maybe nerfed it a little too hard, but I didn't realize you both were Community fans. So, but yeah, it Jeff was correct. It only lasted about half a or Jeff from the TV series, I should say. It got canceled mid-season, but then in their like evil mirror world, it lasted 4 seasons. It got turned into a franchise. So, all right, that brings us halfway through the second round. Do you guys have a score update?
I do. It looks like the game is still very close, with Bartleby, the barista, in the lead by only 5 points. They have 150 points, and Call Me Moby with 145.
All right. We're going on to question 6. The category is music, in air quotes. Also known as a wheel fiddle, what is the onomatopoeic name of the stringed folk instrument that produces sound by turning a wheel with a hand crank? At times, it can be more painful to listen to than bagpipes.
I know I watched a YouTube video of someone playing this.
I'm sure there's someone on YouTube who does modern covers with this instrument. I don't know it, Jeff.
Well,
It was just Post Malone songs.
Yeah, right. All right, so they're locked in over there. He said onomatopoeia, music in quotes, and that it's more painful to listen to than it would be, I think, to use, something to that effect. So could it be like one of those torch devices?
It's not a music box, I'm guessing.
Right.
Although you do crank those up.
It's not a Soulja Boy. You do crank those.
Yep.
But you said a hand crank, maybe? That's like a torch device, right? That you've used
rack?
before? Yeah, the rack.
Thumb screws.
Thumb screws. What did you say? You said... what was the other one that you mentioned?
Oh, I don't think it's a squeeze box. That's
Squeeze
just
box.
a nickname for like an accordion, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea then. I mean, crank. That's kind of onomatopoeia-ish. I don't know.
Does it make a sound that sounds like crank?
Maybe.
That's what it would have to be for it to work as onomatopoeia.
Yeah, I'm leaving it in your court. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
Let's go crank.
Okay.
All right, you guys are locked in with crank. Paul and Matt, what did you guys come up with?
I think Paul was able to crank out a right answer over there. What did you say, Paul?
Well, Donovan had that song Hurdy-Gurdy Man back in the 60s, and hurdy-gurdy sounds onomatopoetic.
And that is correct. So yeah, so it's a hurdy-gurdy, like maybe not a hurty-gurdy, but it can be rough. Here, let me...
Yeah, I was going to say I have to look up.
Yeah, so Neal, you just haven't been on the same TikTok pages that I have, so that's how I found this thing. And,
is it the guy with the glasses?
This guy's going for it. It's like a off airman.
I didn't hate that as much as I thought.
That's enough of it. It's out there. It's worth listening to at least once. All right, we're gonna go on to question 7. What is the term you use to describe an elixir that can supposedly cure all illnesses? It's now used derisively to mock drugs or supplements that are overmarketed.
All right, Jeff, I'm not too confident on any of these things. We said snake oil, panacea, wonder drug. Is there anything else you want to go with? If not, I have no idea.
No, I don't know. Do you want to just stick with panacea?
Let's do it.
All right. So I originally was thinking snake oil, and then I remembered I was thinking that because it was in the question. Paul, what did we end up going with?
We went with panacea too.
And yeah, both teams are right. So snake oil is probably the more common term that everyone's heard. But if you hear a drug marketed as a panacea, we're making fun of it because there's no drug that could actually cure everything. All right, going on to question 8. The category is Shut Up and Run. The Race That Eats Its Young is the title of a documentary about what grueling competition in which competitors must run 100 miles of mountainous Tennessee terrain in fewer than 60 hours, with the accumulated vertical climb being over 50,000 feet. As far as I can tell, no NBA Hall of Famers turned color analysts have finished the course.
We are locked in over here, guys.
I'm pretty sure that the clue leads me to a really not often referenced or played video game, Charles Barkley's Shut Up and Jam. So how are you feeling about us going with like a Barkley marathon or Barkley run?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I think we're going to lock in with Barkley marathon.
That's a great guess. We talked about Charles Barkley too. I haven't watched NBA in a long time. I know he's on that after show with Shaq. I didn't know if he actually commentates games. The only commentator I could think of that I believe is a Hall of Famer was Bill Walton. So we just went with the Walton run.
Yeah, no, but that's not a bad guess. But Bartleby the barista, they nailed it. They got all the clues there. This is the Barkley Marathons, but I will give you credit. And they're very specific about that because you have to run like close to 5 marathons to finish this race. So if anybody likes like crazy documentaries about just insane athletes, like the rock climbing, bail me out here, guys. Free Solo, yeah. So anybody likes Free Solo, you would absolutely love this documentary. It's got the exact same kind of crazy people in it, and definitely just makes you question anything about your own athletic abilities.
You're not Neil Fisher. You're just a Neil Fisher wannabe who looks like him. Be gone, wannabe. Be gone.
Phil Sanford, our friend, I think would do very well in this race. He is an accomplished runner.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so Phil,
unlike me.
Yeah, if you've ever done the Barkley marathons, let us know.
All right. This one might also be a little bit in Matt's wheelhouse, but category 9 is literally terrible gaming. Selling fewer than 1 million units. What 1990s video game system boasted such unforgettable titles as Jack Bros, Red Alarm, and Wario Land?
If you're okay, we can lock in.
Yeah, I'm for sure I know too. Yeah.
Perfect. We both have terrible video gaming tastes, maybe.
Yeah.
Just familiar.
So I feel like Wario leads us to Nintendo.
Right. Yeah,
and
Nintendo.
We said 1990s, right?
90s. Yeah.
So SNES, 64, Game Boy Color, Advanced. Those feel like
several of the best-selling systems of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
What about, was it 3D? What was the one that like gave people headaches and you had to wear like a Nintendo Vision? What was it called?
I can't remember that. I mean, I know there's like the Power Glove, which was just a remote controller.
It wasn't just a controller.
It was everything.
This thing sold worse than the Nintendo Home Enema Kit.
It was actually a home enema system.
As soon as you, the
Famicom.
As soon as you place it for entry, you press a button. It goes, "Here we go." Okay.
It's me, Enema.
All clean. Okay, so I'm thinking of like unsuccessful systems. Jaguar, but I don't think that had anything.
That was Atari, right?
That was Atari.
You just want to say Jaguar.
I just wanted to say Jaguar.
Love Atari Jaguar.
There was
not really, just name dropping it.
Like you said, maybe Nintendo Vision. Is that what you said? There's Virtual Boy. There's
Virtual Boy. Was that something? That was something, right?
I think it was a system. I have no idea if it has any affiliation with Nintendo.
Go Virtual Boy. I think that's right.
Okay, if you think it's right, because I don't have any idea if it even exists.
Go Virtual Boy.
Okay.
Why does this keep happening? You seem like you're so far away from the answer, and then Neal just throws something out there. Yeah, much like Chevelle in the same time period, we were seeing red with our Virtual Boy, or same Virtual Boy.
Yeah, this is the fourth or fifth time that Call Me Moby has just pulled it out of thin air. Yeah, this literally awful system was the Virtual Boy.
It was that Enema.
It was the Enema.
It was the kit, yeah.
Yeah, with their mascot Enemario.
I mean, talk about good plumbing.
Oh, no.
This is
New
the
show title.
high-class humor you can expect from Triviality. Please subscribe to Patreon.
That should be a T-shirt, though. By the way, Enemario with like a plunger and something.
But the pipe is upside down.
Find it in our T Public store next week.
Yeah, hurry up and patent that before someone else takes
pending.
And if one of our ideas was like a 1 in a million idea, we're getting close with all the ideas we threw out there.
That's the whole idea of the podcast, right? Just keep throwing stuff at the wall until something makes you millionaires. All right, guys. Last question of regular rounds. The category is hurry hard. I was not letting you guys get out of here without a curling question. So, which of these is not a real term used in the great sport of curling? A, pass the hog line. B, flash the house. C, stack the button. D, burn the stone.
Let's see. So you guys are locked in. We've kind of gone through all the terms, and they're all have something to do with curling, right? We know that house, stone, but flash the stone or flash the house doesn't sound right?
Yeah, it's the one that seems the least familiar to me.
Yeah. Outside of Mardi Gras, you shouldn't flash the house. I think we're going to go with flash the house.
I'm not necessarily endorsing flashing the house during Mardi Gras, but we also went flash the house.
All right. So to go through all the terms that are real, you have to pass the hog line. So if you throw a stone and it doesn't go far enough, that means it has not passed the hog line. That's not a legal throw. If you burn a stone, that means that someone was sweeping, trying to make the stone do what you want it to, and they accidentally hit it, which means you burned it. So you have to take that stone out of play. Not good. And the other real term is that if you flash the house, it means you threw it all the way through. So the house is the area you're trying to score in. If you can't even stop it in there, you flashed it. So the fake term is stacking the button. Yeah, the button is a real thing in curling. It's the dead center of where you're trying to score, like the closest you can get. But you can't stack it. You can't put things on top of you can't put more than one stone on top of the button.
Well, Bartleby, the barista, has created some separation going into the final round. They're going to end regulation with 190 points, and trailing behind them are Call Me Moby with only 165 points. So it's going to be some pretty big wagers here, Jeff, but we need to hear the categories first. What are they, Chase?
All right. So the final round, it's all just like my first game. It's all going to be things that come in threes. So you need to get all three answers right to get credit. And they're all inspired by things that I've done since the last time I hosted a game during the pandemic. So category 1 is trying to bake. Category 2 is trying to exercise. Category 3 is walking aimlessly around New York City. Category 4 is camping. Okay, glamping. And then category 5 is watching the same movies again and again.
Okay, all of the wagers are locked in, and just for reference, Bartleby, the barista, is going big or going home. They are betting 30 all the way down, so just be reminded that they're going all in on every question, while Call Me Moby is being a little bit more conservative, and our wagers will present themselves with our answers. Chase, what are the questions?
All right, in category 1, trying to bake, what are the 3 named ingredients used in a tres leches cake? Question 2 is in trying to exercise. If you're trying to join the 1,000-pound club, what are the 3 barbell power lifts that you need to complete? Question 3 is in walking aimlessly around New York City. What are the 3 bridges that connect the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn? 2 of them are adjacent to one another and form the appropriately named Two Bridges neighborhood in Manhattan, and the third shares its name with a Brooklyn neighborhood. Category 4 is in camping or glamping. Excluding an extremely small area of Kansas, the Ozarks are a physiographic region located within what 3 states? And the last question, number 5, watching the same movies again and again. What 3 films comprise Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost's Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, which included a rom-com, a buddy cop comedy, and a sci-fi apocalypse comedy? The last of those was released the same year as a similarly named sci-fi apocalypse comedy that starred Seth Rogen and James Franco, so be specific with your name.
All right, we will mull these over and be right back with our answers. All of the answers are now locked in. Let's hear those questions one more time, Chase, and we'll give our answers.
All right, so just to remind everybody, all these answers come in 3s, so I'll need 3 answers for every question. Category 1 was in trying to bake. What are the 3 namesake ingredients used in a tres leches cake?
All right, we wagered 15 points on this one, assuming the tres leches, you mean the 3 milks. We went heavy cream, condensed milk, and evaporated milk.
Oh, I see. We went with the condensed milk, the heavy cream, and the evaporated milk.
And yeah, it does not matter what order you put them in, but those are the 3 milks you need to make a tres leches cake.
Let me explain something. If I know anything about baking, it does matter which order you do stuff in.
That's true.
This is if you're just learning to bake, this is a real easy one. It's make a little cake, drown it in sugary milk, and there you go. All right, category 2 was in appropriately trying to exercise after eating all that cake. So if you're trying to join the 1,000-pound club, what are the 3 barbell power lifts that you need to complete?
All right, well, this matters a whole lot to us because we wagered 0, and we just said squats, deadlifts, and clean and jerk.
We also went with the squat and the deadlift, but I think the most impressive of the weight lifts, if you've ever been to the gym, because that's where everyone stands around, we say the bench press.
Those are glamour muscles, Matt. Don't fall into the trap.
And yeah, so while the Olympic lifts would be the clean and jerk and the snatch, your power lifts are the back squat, the deadlift, and the bench press. So points to Paul and Matt. All right, going to question 3, walking aimlessly around New York City. What are the 3 bridges that connect the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn? 2 of them are adjacent to one another and form the appropriately named Two Bridges neighborhood in Manhattan, and the third shares its name with a Brooklyn neighborhood.
Okay, we wagered 10. The first 2 bridges we put were the Williamsburg Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. And the last one, there's a coffee roaster there called Brooklyn Coffee Roasters. I bought a can of coffee that was in a cylinder, and TSA quickly stopped me and made it very clear that I should not have had coffee beans in a metal cylinder, but gave me the coffee anyway. And that is in one of my favorite neighborhoods, down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass, which is Dumbo, and that would be the Manhattan Bridge.
Yeah, we also went with Brooklyn, Manhattan, and the Williamsburg.
And those are all correct. All right. So everybody racking up a lot of points here as we go on to question 4, which was in camping or glamping. Excluding an extremely small area of Kansas, the Ozarks are a physiographic region located within what 3 states?
We, again, wagered 0 on one, being this one. And I believe that is Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma.
I'm right in the middle of the Ozarks right here in Joplin, Missouri, and got to get Missouri and Arkansas. And if Kansas is included, it's got to be Oklahoma.
And yep, you guys are absolutely correct. Most of the Ozarks are in southern Missouri, and then it gets the upper part of Arkansas and just a little bit of Oklahoma. It basically gets right to the border of Illinois and actually defines the border of it. So, but your 3 states again, Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. All right, so going into our final question, the category is watching the same movies again and again. What 3 films comprise Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost's Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, which included a rom-com, a buddy cop comedy, and a sci-fi apocalypse comedy? And the last of those was released in the same year as a similarly named sci-fi apocalypse comedy that starred Seth Rogen and James Franco. So be very specific with the title of the third movie.
We wagered 30 on this one. We went with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
And we had Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At the World's End.
All right. Well, I could be immensely pretentious and not give points to Bartleby the Barista because I think you guys are pretty far in the lead. So let's do that. Let's make it a little closer. So the very specific title is The World's End, and then the other movies are, of course, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Very strongly played game. The incorrect answer for number 5 in the final brought Bartleby the Barista down, but not far enough to lose as badly as Call Me Moby. Call Me Moby will end the game with 220 points, but today's cream of the crop is Bartleby the Barista with 320 points, making them, did I already say that they're cream of the crop? Well, they're cream of the crop twice because they beat us by 2.
Handily.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
So that's the game. Good job, guys.
We're speechless. That's how stunning that finish was.
Yeah, great job, guys. Great questions, Chase. Let's start with you, Chase, for putting this game together. Your second appearance on the show as a host. The Bone Doctor returned, and he conquered. Loved the questions. They were all in different parts of trivia, great different categories. Any shout-outs or anything you'd like to talk about? The floor is yours.
I think so. This time, just a shout out. I think if there's one thing that everyone can do to better themselves and to make the world a safer place, is if you have the time to get certified to do CPR. Anyone that's watching the European soccer tournament right now saw a young, healthy guy just fall on the field, and his life was saved because the people around him were certified to perform life-saving resuscitation. So it's a class that you can take in half of a Saturday, and who knows, you could potentially be the difference in somebody making it to another day. So. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a medical professional. Anybody can learn how to do these basic skills, and it's very important.
Great advice. Thank you for sharing that, and hopefully our listeners will take that to heart. And thank you very much for being a Patreon supporter and for putting the game together today. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure meeting you and also seeing those wonderful guitars behind you. Do you have any shout-outs or anything you would like to talk about before we let you go today?
I'll shout out my dad since Father's Day is coming up as we're taping.
It was 7 months ago now by the time this airs.
He got me into trivia back when, I was like 5 years old watching Jeopardy and doing Trivial Pursuit. So.
And what's your dad's name?
His name is Paul too.
Ah,
all right.
Paul Dwyer Sr. Yes, shout out to you, sir. And thank you, Paul, for joining us and supporting us on Patreon. Great game to both of you. And again, great game by Chase today. For all of us over here, thank you for listening. For Ken, Jeff, Chase, Matt, Paul, and myself, my name is Neal, and that was Triviality. I like how we're just glossing over the fact that I was on the right track, but was laughed out of court today by saying it could be Cro-Mag, not Cro-Magnon.
You weren't that close.
Yeah.
That's not what you said.
You said Cro-Mad.
You said Cro-Magnon.
No, I said Cro-Magnon with a G.
Okay, it's still
you said
wrong.
a lot of things, Neal, and you were like, Jeff, fix it. I don't know.